8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome.
Hey guys, what is going on? It is Jeb from the Blonde Blitz. I'm your co-host, and Nikki is off tonight. She's got some business today, so I've got Cannoli here with me. We're going to talk some football. Also, I have got friend of the show, Las Vegas Raiders expert and college football aficionado, Hammer, is here as well. Everybody give it on up for Hammer.
What's going on, everybody? I had to blame your co-host who's currently on assignment. She said either a pink shirt or a blonde wig.
Right. We've been trying to get Danny to wear a blonde wig all last season, and he wouldn't do it. So I appreciate the pink.
Thanks for having me.
Good on you.
Thank you.
How you doing this evening?
I'm good. A lot to talk about. As you guys know, the combine just wrapped up, and officially a week from today, happy new league year. There's a lot to talk about tonight.
Exactly. March 13th. We cannot wait. So Hammer, you do a lot of content. Tell us a little bit about the Raider content that you do.
So my channel on YouTube is Raider Nation News Today. I break down all Las Vegas Raiders news, news, rumors, up-to-date news. I do live streams of a lot of the games as they go on. I also do fantasy football on Sunday mornings. We do like a little stardom sit-em for the viewers to get them to get their lineups right and ready. And every once in a while, we throw some other things in, some UFC. But of course, it's primarily the Las Vegas Raiders and around the league, around the NFL news as well.
Amazing. And we'll talk a little bit more about the Raiders later and maybe who might be their new quarterback, in the draft from the Combine. I'll get your thoughts on that. But first, let's talk about Combine. Just happened. Unfortunately, neither of us were there, which I'm still really upset about. But, stuff happens. I was there last year. I will make it next year. I will be at the draft this year. What were your thoughts on what you saw? Who stood out to you?
So for me, it was obviously with the Raiders, our main priority right now is getting a new quarterback. So looked at a lot of them. You had a couple that didn't participate, Jaden Daniels and Caleb Williams as well. But J.J. McCarthy seemed to be a guy that got a lot of attention out of this combine. And I said, with Jaden Daniels and Caleb Williams both not participating, that this was going to put eyes on the rest of the quarterbacks of this draft class. So it was good to see what he could do out there. There's a lot of teams in front of us in this draft right now that are going to be looking for quarterbacks, and we may end up having to make some type of move.
You guys are
what?
13, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I mean, that's pretty far up there for like the top 3 quarterbacks. I mean, JJ McCarthy's coming in at like 4 right now, right?
Yep. And we have a team in our AFC West rival, the Denver Broncos, that are a pick above us. And they might even be trying to move up even further to try to get somebody of the likes of J.J. McCarthy or even Bo Nix.
Right. But I'm hearing his combine interview went really well. How would you feel if he was to be the quarterback?
So I talked about this on my show the other night as it pertains to J.J. McCarthy. Now, this kid learned a pro-style system under recently departed head coach of Michigan, Jim Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh, for those that don't know, was a former quarterback as well. So he learned a pro-style system. He competed to get that starting job. He won a national championship. I think all the boxes are checked for him. Is he a guy that I'm like – he is a guy that I had on the radar. I didn't necessarily have him in my top 4, but he definitely jumped where I had Bo Nix. And I look at it for me right now as it stands for a quarterback for the Raiders. 1A would be Jaden Daniels.
Yep.
1B would be J.J. McCarthy.
Cool. How about give me your 3 and your 4 too?
So, okay. Ranking overall with these quarterbacks, it was Caleb, Jaden Daniels, Drake May,
Yep,
J.J. McCarthy, and then Bo Nix.
Of course. Okay. Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, we will see come draft day what happens there. What stood out for me, obviously, at the combine, Xavier Worthy out of Texas, running that 4.21 on the 40. Like, wow. Broke all combine records. Was obviously all over the internet, and good for him. So, and I know you're a Texas fan. So, how excited were you?
I went crazy for it just because it's one of my Texas guys. My main concern right now is, and I've heard people talk about him lining up and going against a guy that has him in man coverage and bumping him, and his hands aren't the best in the world.
No.
Like, I didn't really see that, at least like not this past season, because he did deal with injuries here and there, but the season before he just went off. My major concern is, God forbid, he goes to somebody like the Kansas City Chiefs. Pretty much, you plug and play him in, he's pretty much going to be the replacement to Tyreek Hill. So I'm really hoping he does not end up in Kansas City.
Where would you like to see him?
Anywhere except Kansas City.
There we go.
Anywhere except Kansas City. Not with the Chargers and not with the Broncos.
I would love to see him with the Chargers, but that's also because I cover the Chargers. And I'm very excited for this season with Jim Homer and everybody, because that's going to be a lot of fun. Another thing that stood out for me at the combine was Luke McCaffrey beat out brother Christian McCaffrey in the 40-yard dash. Luke got a 4.46, and Christian had gotten a 4.48. Also impressive. Everyone knows I'm a huge CMC fan. So if Luke is beating out the brother already, I mean, we'll see.
Look, it's the genes in that family. We know what his father did throughout his NFL career. We see what Christian has done his first few years in the league. Now, little brother, it's your time to step up and shine.
Absolutely. And their mom too. I mean, their mother, she was also a really high collegiate athlete as well. Yeah. So you're right. It's in the genes. Absolutely. All the brothers play football as well. Here's the next thing I want to talk about. And this always bothers me a little bit, so I want to get your take on it as well. Your thoughts on Caleb Williams opting out of workouts and medical testing. I feel that last year we talked about this on your show. Bryce Young opted out of everything, and kind of look what happened to him last season. Do you think it has any correlation to anything really? I mean, I know the guys are going to be on pro day. They're going to, he'll obviously do his pro day, but what are your thoughts?
Well, the combine basically is to do a physical assessment and do your medicals and obviously interview with these teams.
Mm-hmm.
There was a report out there by The Athletic last week pertaining to Caleb Williams, and pretty much it's already a diva mentality with him. And this goes as far back as when he was younger, and his father getting him involved and developing him, putting him with the best coaches out there and everything. But I also think it's this new generation, like the sense of entitlement. Like he didn't want to do any of this stuff, but I think you had said he was like the last one on the field when everything was said and done.
Absolutely.
Like you're craving attention. That's you're seeking attention right now. And there's been back and forth throughout the media for quite some time now that he doesn't want to go to Chicago. But this report in The Athletic, he wants them to change the CBA if he wants to be able to get out of his contract. He wants to have ownership in a team. Like, yeah, that's not happening, my guy. I mean, pump the brakes. You haven't even been drafted yet.
Exactly. Like, you're going to be an NFL player. You be thankful you're even going to, play in the league.
Yeah.
And I had the same thought last year when Bryce Young opted out of everything. I was like, okay, diva. I have to be honest. I did kind of like to hear that he was, thanking everyone, and he was the last player to leave the field on Saturday night. Like, that I like. But like you just said, he was doing it for attention because he knew he opted out of everything, and he kind of had to save his butt. Like, I don't know. So we'll see. We'll see what happens to him on draft day. Which draft day. Let's talk about it a little bit. It's coming. It's about a little bit more than a month away.
I think they said it. I think I saw it this morning. I think the NFL draft is 50 days away.
It's 50 days away, which NFL's nonstop. I feel like we just had Super Bowl. It was like Pro Bowl, then it's Super Bowl, and now like you just come up for air from Super Bowl, and then it's Combine, and then a month later it's draft, and then all of a sudden it's like preseason. You're like, what happened? Or training camp at least. So wanted to get your take on the first 3 picks. We got Chicago, Washington, Patriots. How do you think it will go? I mean, there's been a lot of talk. Should Chicago trade Justin Fields to take Caleb Williams? Should Washington trade up for Williams? Like they'd be trading around a lot, like probably 2 first-round picks, a second-round pick. What are your thoughts on who's going where?
This has become incredibly wild already, especially like with what transpired over the weekend with the Combine. And I really feel like I didn't hear Drake May talked about.
Yeah.
And a lot since the mock drafts really started for this upcoming draft, they had Drake May, the quarterback out of UNC, projected as the number 2 overall pick.
Second, yep.
The way things seem to be, and we still have to see these guys' pro days as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like at this point, Jaden Daniels' stock has shot up to the point now that he could potentially be maybe the 1st overall or the 2nd overall. Now, as it pertains to Caleb Williams, Caleb Williams is from the DC area.
Mm-hmm.
Cliff Kingsbury withdrew from being the Raiders offensive coordinator and went to Washington.
Yep.
We know that Cliff Kingsbury and Caleb Williams had that relationship at USC. You just brought in your old guy, Zack Ertz, today.
I know. We're going to talk about that later, Hammer.
I'm sorry.
That's okay when I talked about our Lord and Savior Jason Kelce retiring, but that's okay.
I just feel like right now it feels like, Washington could potentially want to trade up for that 1 spot if they don't know exactly what Chicago's trying to do. But at the same time, Chicago could be like, you don't want to be here, whatever the case may be. Who gives a shit? We're still going to draft you anyways.
Right.
I mean, everything's on the table right now.
Right. Exactly. And I mean, is Justin Fields that bad of a quarterback? Like, is it the weapons around him that he's I think he just got it.
So here's the thing. You can't even say it's the weapons around him because they got DJ Moore in that trade with the Carolina Panthers last offseason before the draft pretty much. And DJ Moore, I think close to 1,400 receiving yards. If I remember correctly, I think it was 8 touchdown receptions.
He's a beast.
His offensive line has been the problem for the last 2 years where the Chicago Bears offense ran through their running backs and Justin Fields because the offensive line couldn't pass block if their life depended on it. And push came to shove, Justin Fields was going to have to do anything and everything to try to extend plays with his feet. And this is why the offense ranked the most in carries and I believe rushing yards for 2 consecutive years. It's the offensive line. It's not Justin Fields.
Okay. So, I mean, to that point, like, should they trade away Justin Fields to get?
I think they're going to. I think having that number 1 overall pick, and I think maybe whatever it is that they're seeing in Caleb Williams right now, or even Jaden Daniels, they think that they may have a better piece over Justin Fields. We know a lot of teams have been mentioned in regards to Justin Fields and a trade destination. Yeah. And as it stands right now, I do believe with a new head coach in Atlanta, I do believe that there's a chance Justin Fields will end up with the Atlanta Falcons.
And I agree with you there. They obviously need a quarterback there. Ritter obviously is not it. Either is Heineke. I've been also hearing Kirk Cousins is a possibility. What do you think of Cousins going over to Atlanta?
Cousins is another guy that, look, he's up there in age. He is
nicest guy ever, by the way. Like I interviewed him. He is so unbelievably nice. But go ahead.
He's known for being the franchise tag guy. That's why he has the money that he has right now. As it stands right now, his market value is roughly around $39-40 million on average annual.
It's wild.
Just coming off an Achilles injury, which I still can't believe it because I don't know if you saw the NFL was it the NFL honors when they did the MVP and all the other awards. The the weekend of the Super Bowl.
Yep.
Kirk Cousins was on stage doing a whole choreography.
Yes.
And I'm like,
it was like
I'm sitting there, my jaw dropped.
Right?
I'm like, this dude tore his Achilles how long ago? Like, what? Yeah.
He was just showing he was ready to play this season.
Clearly. I think as it goes for him right now, this is another one. I kind of believe that Minnesota wants to do what they can to try to keep him for a year, maybe two.
Yep.
But hey, you never know. And again, we'll probably get an idea as early as Monday when the tampering period starts.
Yeah, I just think his time. I think the Vikings will try to hold on to him. I just don't know if they can, and I don't know. It might be time. It might be time for him to move on.
Yeah.
So he hasn't. And obviously we all know about Cousins in prime time, but yeah, I would like to see him with the Falcons. We'll see how that goes.
With who?
I
With
wouldn't
the
mind.
Falcons?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing
Okay.
Falcons. Yeah. I think they have some great. I think he would have some great weapons around him, and
Absolutely. You have Drake London. You have Kyle
Pitts.
Pitts. You have Bijan Robinson. Like, I don't see why not.
Absolutely. New head coach, Raheem Morrison. Like,
Yep.
we'll see. Raheem Morris. But anyway, we are heading into the free agency week. We had there was 8 players that got franchise tagged yesterday. Name them off: Bears, CB Jalen Johnson; Bengals wide receiver T. Higgins; Buccaneers safety Antoine Winfield; Chiefs CB L'Jarius Sneed; Colts wide receiver Michael Pittman; Jaguars LB Josh Allen; Panthers LB Brian Barnes; and Ravens DT Justin Madubuike. Madubuike. Thank you. Close there. What did you think? Any surprises? What were your thoughts?
No. No surprises. No surprises at all. T. Higgins, he's that number 2 in Cincy. He did have a down year. He did battle some injuries, and pretty much his stat line last season, they were all career lows. As it pertains to Chiefs cornerback L'Jarius Sneed, there are 7 teams as it stands right now that are currently interested in trading for him.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of makes sense. The Chiefs did grant him the right to seek a trade back in February, and the Chiefs are kind of in a little bit of a cap issues right now. And at the same time, they have their star defensive tackle Chris Jones is set to go to the free agent market. I think what they're going to try to do is try to make some type of trade that makes sense to recoup that tag money that he is due in the $19.8 million. But it also needs to be understood that once he is traded, he has to get that new contract as well. I think what they're trying to do is relieve that money and have some money there to extend Chris Jones if the opportunity presents itself. He's probably seeking his annual average is going to be 30+ million a year. So I have to see what happens with that. Josh Allen, I'm not surprised by. Brian Burns, I'm not surprised by. Right. Justin Madubuike, who is a guy that I had on my free agent Christmas list. It definitely stings, but he is a dog at the defensive tackle position. Still have a couple of free agents that I have my eye on at the defensive tackle position for the Raiders, and we'll see how it plays out for them.
What did you think? There was no running backs that were franchise.
Not surprised at all when your franchise tag is $14.1 million. Yeah. And these are all top tier running backs that are now set for the free agency market. It's going to be very interesting to see what type of offers, what type of deals these guys could potentially get. I'm definitely hoping that Josh Jacobs, and I hope the Raiders do right by him, give him an extension for at least 3 years. He can finish his career a Raider. That's what he wants to do.
Well, and that was, you just answered my next question. Do you think any of them will get longer contracts to see?
I think it's going to be for me, I think it's going to be based upon what the average annual in the contract is going to be. I don't see any of these running backs. I don't see any running back moving forward because of how depreciated the running back position is now. I don't see a running back getting 12 million or even within the ballpark of what Christian McCaffrey is getting. He is the last running back to get a big money contract that he has right now.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think of? I mean, Saquon Barkley didn't get the franchise tag, but he's about to hit free agency. So I want to talk about him because Nikki's not here. Because
Right.
let's do a nod to Nikki here. Where do you think he's going to go? Do you think?
I think one of three places for Saquon Barkley. The Houston Texans. See what they did last year with
That's a
Offensive
great
Rookie of the
spot for
Year
him.
and CJ Stroud and the weapons that they have.
Absolutely.
He
You're bringing me
could
back.
go.
You're bringing me back to last year too. When we talked about Combine. I was like, CJ Stroud. Like you were the first show I was on when I was there, and I was like, guys, watch this kid. And
Yep.
there we go.
The other team, which Nikki is going to kill me for this one. Sorry. The NFC East rival, Dallas Cowboys. Tony Pollard is set to be a free agent as well. He could go there and team up with Dak and the rest of the squad in Dallas. The other team I think that would make sense with the weapons that they have on offense and the high caliber two-time MVP of the league, the Baltimore Ravens.
Yep. No, those are some, I agree with all of those. I think those are some good spots. Although I would hate to see him in Dallas too, because I'm an Eagles fan. So that would suck for me as well, being an FC East.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's fine. We talk real football here. Yeah, and also too, just moves are already kind of started happening here. Seahawks released Jamal Adams, Quandre Diggs. Jags released Darius Williams, Rashawn Jenkins, Foley, Fatusi. I'm probably saying that wrong too. Dolphins released Jerome Baker. Chargers released Eric Kendricks, which I'm very upset about. And then also the Texans released Dalton Schultz.
No. He got an extension.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right.
He got an extension.
He got an extension. Yeah, a 3-year.
Which, you know what? That's great for CJ because that is his security blanket. So there you go.
Yeah. Sorry, I read that wrong. That was my notes not being good.
No, you're good.
Another guy, Russell Wilson. Hello. Leaving the Broncos. Where do you think his next team will be? And do you think someone's going to take him?
Why not? Here's the thing.
Go ahead.
That marriage in Denver ended because of Sean Payton.
Absolutely.
Sean Payton has.
He didn't like him from the beginning.
He has a ridiculous ego, and what's crazy is about this.
So does Sean Payton, though, a little bit. But he should.
No, I'm saying Sean. I'm not putting this on Russell Wilson. I'm putting this solely on Sean Payton because Wilson was there before Sean Payton came in. So, and the crazy thing is when he was traded from Seattle to Denver 2 seasons ago, I think it was about within less than 2 weeks, maybe within less than a week, he had gotten a 7-year extension.
Right.
And a year later, after you bring in a new head coach, all of a sudden things have gone south and you bench him and now he's outright released. Now, sucks for the Broncos, not everybody else in the league, because now they're getting hit with a cap hit of about $85 million.
Yep.
He can be signed to any team now on a league vet minimum at $1.2 million.
Yeah.
You have a quarterback that has the experience, that has been in the playoffs, has been to a Super Bowl. I've talked about it on my show the other day. It's like I'm kind of iffy about it as it pertains to him coming to the Raiders, just because it's like we see what we have in that locker room right now. Antonio Pierce is a head coach. The attitude has totally changed. I don't know if he has that same energy that the rest of these guys do.
Yep.
At the same time, a 1-year deal, the Broncos are paying like $39-40 million this season alone on him. Cool. We were to get somebody like Russell Wilson and then draft one of these quarterbacks, let him learn behind Russell Wilson for a year and see what the possibilities are after that. But I'm not completely sold on it.
Yeah, that's an interesting way to think about it. I just don't see Russell Wilson fitting in Antonio Pierce's scheme.
I've heard him going to the Jets and being the backup behind Aaron Rodgers, which I thought was the funniest thing I've ever heard.
That's a little wild. But But like you said before with Sean Payton, I thought you were talking about Russell Wilson being the diva, and I think he is, and I think Sean Payton kind of talked about it. He's like, stop being Russell Wilson, the brand,
shaking hands, kissing babies, all that stuff.
Like, so that's what I thought you were talking about. Like, and I mean, I think those two big egos on the same team just wouldn't.
They clashed.
Yeah. Well, and I think they'll clash with Aaron Rodgers too. Like, can you see Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson playing together?
No, and when I first heard that, and if I remember correctly, I think it was former NFL GM Mike Tannenbaum that said that. He has made some really outrageous takes over the last couple of weeks pertaining to free agency, and that was one of them. The other was that the New York Football Giants should consider trading with the Cleveland Browns for Deshaun Watson. Really?
I don't even want to get into Deshaun Watson.
Like that dude comes with 24 problems. I don't think you need to have that. I don't think you need to have that in New York. Like, no, you're bugging.
Absolutely not. That's crazy. We'll see how that plays out. Also, too, I was even shocked that with last season, Brock Purdy and Sam Darnold, like, I was shocked that they were put together and Sam went in was a backup to Brock. I never thought we'd ever see Sam Darnold as a backup, but his play kind of speaks for itself. But that was
so does USC quarterbacks play for the last 20 plus years. The only two guys that have done really anything or had decent careers is Carson Palmer and Mark Sanchez, but
I mean,
Leonard, Sam Darnold, no, not it.
Mark played with the Eagles for a bit. I mean, he's good on TV now. Well, let's talk about someone who might be going to TV, and I hope to see him. Jason Kelce retired from the Eagles a day or so ago. I literally had to stop what I was doing and I watched the press conference. I didn't take any phone calls because this was a once in a lifetime thing. And I sat there bawling my eyes out. I have to be completely honest. It was rough seeing Jason walk in and he literally said one word and started crying. Like, it was really hard to watch. And, he proceeded to go from his childhood football days to all the way through, college and then the pros, Super Bowl, and like ending in the last, this season that just literally fell apart. But I've met Jason. I've talked with him, showing a couple pictures. This particular picture was they played the Titans. So I was in the friends and family tent. Extremely nice. I met him again at the Jersey Shore. He does a charity event every year. My family has a house down there. His family has a house down there, and this charity event's at the OD, which is a huge popular bar. So all the fans and reporters were there. So there we are having drinks and doing shots. He bought me a shot.
You need to absolutely notify me when that next one is, because I would love the opportunity to meet him and have a beer with him. Like, he just seems like such a cool guy.
He's amazing. He's a nice guy. Loves football. Loves his wife and his family, and it just doesn't get better than Jason Kelce. And he's going to be sorely missed in Philly. I think he will stay with the organization in some capacity, or also, obviously be seen on TV.
I think he'll have a very bright. I think he'll have a very promising career if he gets into sports broadcasting, or even being like an analyst for whoever. Like, he has that personality. I think he's definitely made for it.
Who do you think on the Eagles will now kind of step up in that leadership role that he has, within the organization?
It's tough to say, because I'm already hearing rumblings how things aren't sounding so promising with your quarterback and Jalen Hurts, and that's a quarterback that's supposed to be one of the leaders of the locker room. So that's more of a question for you. You're the diehard Eagles fan.
I mean, I'm not sure if there's anyone there. I know Cam Jurgens is set to take his place, on the field. They obviously drafted him in 2022, and we all knew it. We all knew this was coming as the Eagles fans. But I don't know, locker room. I mean, Jason's kind of like the Philly fanatic of the Eagles. I know we have Swoop, but with him with the Super Bowl speech, he had the Mummers outfit, which is our huge Philly parade every year. That happens on New Year's Day. It's just like a huge tradition. He's such a character and just such an amazing player. What was it, 4 or 6-time Pro Bowl? I don't know who's in that locker room is gonna take his place, and we'll see. I mean, a lot going down. Who knows if Brandon Graham's coming back, if Fletcher Cox is coming back. I mean, Lane Johnson, like it's going to be a little bit of a depressing season, I think, but we'll see. But I'm very excited. We talked about Zack Ertz, coming back, former Eagle. He just signed with the Commanders a 1-year, $5 million deal. I'm a little disappointed that he's with the Commanders. I have to be honest. He's a rival now, but we all kind of saw it coming. He went with his former Arizona Cardinals head coach, Cliff Kingsbury, as you said. Commanders, Kingsbury is now the Commanders OC. Brian Johnston, he spent some time with him at the Eagles. He's the assistant head coach and the offensive pass game coordinator. So Zack makes sense there. I wish him luck. And that's about it. Any thoughts on Zack playing with the Commanders?
Doesn't surprise me. Again, like you just touched on it. He played under Cliff Kingsbury when Kingsbury was a head coach in Arizona. So, Look, this guy's an OC. He's going to try to make things work with whoever the quarterback is, whether it being Jaden Daniels, whether it being Caleb Williams, but he's going to try to get the right pieces to help this young quarterback and the Commanders offense going into the season and for years to come as well.
Awesome. So, Hammer, we're wrapping up the show. Let our listeners know where we can find you.
You guys can find me on YouTube, Raider Nation News Today. You could also find me on X at Hammers_house. And trying to remember the other one, that Instagram one, Hammers.house.
Say that one more time because we got a little bit of a skip there.
Instagram, Hammers.house.
Awesome. All right, guys, just as a reminder, the show is sponsored by UnderDog Sports. Go to UnderDog Fantasy and type in blonde in all caps for up to $100 in bonus money after the first deposit. And guys, make sure you tune into our show, The Blonde Blitz, every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific on that spot. I'm getting the name messed up. Sorry, guys. On that Sports Podcast Network, as well as on YouTube under Blonde Blitz. Also, check out our website, theblondeblitz.com. On IG and TikTok, we are at Blonde Blitz Pod. Guys, Nikki will be back next week. We all miss her. We wish her luck this evening in the business that she's doing. Hammer, thanks again so much for coming on and doing this.
Thanks for having me.
And we will see you guys soon. Bye.
Bye, guys.